This is a digitization of a 35-year-old run of postage stamp magazine Stamp Bug Club from the Royal Mail of Great Britain from January 1990. The big push of the 150th anniversary of the world's first postage stamp, the penny black of 1840, which is practically the only stamp still worth anything, because their propaganda to collect stamps was too good. Too many people have preserved their stamps, flooding the market. But the upside is that these little works of art, once used by billions of people, snapshot the history of world countries, probably 200 country names that don't exist anymore, where kings, queens, and usurpers take the throne, then don't. These magazines I collected from issue 61 through to 80, with only 4 getting lost in the post. My grandfather's big regret was selling his stamps during a great workers' strike. If he only knew, it wouldn't matter in the future, as these tiny printed pieces of paper, and for Britain, legal currency, said Coronation Street, would first get replaced by prepaid business envelopes, and then email. The first magazine starts with 20p stamps, supporting the Royal Society for the Protection of Animals. Ironically, the chick is today left to suffer despite the corrupt whims of the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, you will see 2 years later. Only British stamps are allowed to show a monarchical head rather than printing the name of the country. You have seen animated smiles from popular British culture, the Queen's Award that does nothing for the company workers, architecture, trees that we pillage from seed for Kew Gardens, the Queen Mother, and a stamp of disgraced Rolf Harris. An article about pottery, perhaps they cancelled stamps with that idea. Then Thomas Hardy alone. Next are war medals, another collectible item. The astronomy set rises 10% in price before the Christmas set. Then notice how they encourage to collect world stamps and buy a book that tells you about them, yet costs more than the value of a whole album full of stamps. In 1991, dogs returned before an attractive set of 10 first-class stamps, the greeting stamps, that is, all for £2.20. Here's a tip: if you still use stamps, always use second class, because they can get there even faster than first class. They then continued having no margin. We have seen 2 old computers, then comes the set of British inventions, including its inventor, Charles Babbage. The World Student Games were commemorated, then issues Dinosaurs Before Roses. After the September map stamps rise 10% again, they show off Punch of Duty and archaeology stamp books that hold different stamps and the important 1p and 2p definitives to cover the inflated price of new costs. 1992 start with attractive greetings set again, then for winter a helpful 18p stamp. The 39p stamp would always be worth more because hardly anyone needed to use them for large packages, and if so, were often torn and discarded. The back encourages to collect Commonwealth stamps and be loyal to monarchy. March was a busy month, showing front page Lord Tennyson, then Christopher Columbus and Raleigh Trust, then Seville Olympics and Exposition. Notice for nostalgia the competition to win an 8-bit Sega Master System 2 console, before the back page RSPB. Gilbert and Sullivan have their 150th anniversary, then there's the special green issue on the bounce of Fern Gully film. The £6 Tolkien book is perhaps collectible to later Lord of the Ring and Hobbit hobbyists. History is stamped with the UK entering the single European market before Brexit. Finally, orchids are up front. We see a hugely expensive £10 stamp with braille and duplicated greeting stamps about comic history, where just the denomination changes from pennies to first-class postage. Perhaps King Charles will have a long life too, but it's time for me to destroy these magazines. I know there are some out there studying history, a few collectors, more with collections in the loft. Be sure to write if you have any questions or comments, otherwise it will lie lonely with the rest of the tried styles of videos. Questions that I have are what to do with 20,000 stamps, make them into art, or sell individually with their rich history researched for everyone, or will they just go to landfill if not recycled? This issue has a special place in human psyche, back when acid rain killed forests, and CFC's chlorofluorocarbons had a disastrous effect on the widening of the ozone layer hole. And yet, post-Brexit, what has really happened? More G20 summits to postpone laying off exploiting nature? History shall repeat.